Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. Today I'm going to be doing a watercolor piece and a little bit of story time. I was really inspired by how the cat turned out in No Box Art Box 2. I will link that, go check it out for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be releasing this before or after No Box Art Box 3, but there is a No Box Art Box 3 coming out if it hasn't already, and there will be a No Box Art Box 4 early in June. I'm definitely going to be doing that series at least once a month now. Love it. Don't know why I put it on the back burner after episode 1. Anyway, I was really inspired by that tabby cat, and I wanted to do another animal in that style. It definitely didn't turn out like that. Anyway, before I get on with what we're doing here, get this face cam stuff off your screen, just a little bit of an update. I know I said that my second channel, Gaming Gab, was going to launch this week at the latest. I'm putting that on hold just a little bit longer. I was going to do Reddit narration, and there's a lot of controversy now because the people posting on the Reddit forums that are getting the most attention on YouTube are starting to figure out what their rights are, and a lot of them, some of them are thrilled about it, but some of them aren't so happy about having their stuff shared on YouTube. So I can't bring myself to do that. I'm not going to do that on this channel anymore, and I'm definitely not going to do that there. As a compromise, I am still going to be scouring Reddit and finding juicy AskReddit questions, finding other threads, and I'm going to respond to them. So for mostly, I'm going to use AskReddit, and I'm going to answer the AskReddit questions as if I was posting on Reddit, and I may actually even post on Reddit, but instead I'm going to narrate my response to you guys. So on Game & Gab, when that does finally go up, it will be mobile gaming footage as I planned, and responding to Reddit as storytime narration over top. But the vast bulk of what I say will actually just be me. So anyway, so today's video, storytime, is going to be that, responding to Reddit, and the bulk of narration on Gaming Gab, when that finally launches, will be responding to Reddit storytime narration. So check out that channel link down below. Go subscribe to Gaming Gab if that interests you, if you want to be around for the first post. Alright, I'm done with the face cam. Let's get on with it. User Falcon Ranger asks, what is something unrealistic that you often see in movies that annoys the hell out of you? Okay, so this one has surprisingly annoyed me since before I was a mother, but still. Movies, TV shows, all of that, the woman's water breaks, it's like this big dramatic thing, and then she's instantly in labor, and they rush to the hospital, the baby's almost born on the way, and then the baby's here, like, so fast, like, the woman's, like, screaming and pushing and screaming and pushing, and then the baby's here, and then everything's just kind of cool and calm and relaxed, and the whole thing was, like, 5 minutes on screen from water breaking to baby here, and it's kind of passed off as the whole thing took like maybe 2 hours. Some women that happens, yes, but for the vast majority it doesn't. From water breaking to baby here, my daughter took her sweet time. She took 39 hours and 1 minute from start to finish. And yeah, but like, not only does it take way longer than that, once the baby comes out, you still have the afterbirth, and you still have the nurses and doctors running all over the place. They want to make sure mom's okay, they want to make sure baby's okay, they want to make sure anybody who was in the room supporting is okay. And yeah, that's always annoyed me, that like giving birth in movies and TV shows, they speed it way up. They play up drama for the sake of drama, but they make it happen really fast. With the exception of when Rachel has her baby in Friends, they do show a whole lot of other mothers coming and going in the labor ward, but they play it off as a joke, and like, it is not a joke. Another thing that annoys me in movies is with horses. You may have noticed in some animated movies, like Spirit, that they'll show horses licking up water like a dog. They don't do that. They don't. Horses put their lips in the water and suck it up. And so often you'll see horses passed off that like, oh yeah, this one was definitely its mother, but it's an impossible color combination. Or they'll like think that you're not paying attention and they'll show a flashback or an earlier scene or whatnot when the horse was a baby, a foal. And yes, newborn foals are typically a different color than what they grow up to be because they might be lighter or darker. They might have a progressive color gene in there, like gray. White horses are gray, by the way. But you can't put a chestnut foal on screen and tell me it turns into a bay. That's just... no. Yeah, so that annoys me too. User Pineapple129 is asking, if somebody from the year 1900 mysteriously appeared next to you right now, what would be the first thing you would show them to get the biggest reaction? Well, I think they would already be getting a huge reaction from the fact that I am talking into a cell phone. It's this tiny little magic box with things going on one side, and my laptop is open in front of me. Easily could show them the internet, easily could put a video on and play it. Definitely technology here would just freak them out, and I wouldn't even have to show them because if they're appearing right beside me right now, they're going to see it. I'm using it. But, you know, other than that, my impulse would be to show them the internet. So even if I didn't have these things going on right now, that would be it. I'd pull out my phone and I'd show them the internet. User Collective1985 wants to know which movie scared the crap out of you as a child. Okay, so if we're saying strictly movies, Lake Placid. I watched it at a friend's house, whatever year it was that it came out. Let me look that up. Hold on. 1999. Alright, so I was 11. And I was at a friend's house and we watched that. We really, really shouldn't have. What scared me the most was the scene where one of the crocodile's victims has been... Their top half has been found. And it's laying on a table in a morgue somewhere. And there's a sheet over it. And they lift it up. And it's literally just down to the fleshy bits under the ribcage. And it's all chewed up. And it probably doesn't look very impressive by today's standards. I have not gone back and watched it. But, just... I had nightmares about that. I was afraid of crocodiles in lakes after that, even though I grew up in British Columbia, in Canada. Yeah, that would be it. But if we're thinking like really young child and just film type media in general, the thing that I watched on a television screen that gave me the most nightmares as a very small child was actually an episode of Barney where I wasn't even scared while I was watching the episode, but I had nightmares about it after. But they were going camping. Barney and the kids that were on the show were going camping, and I don't remember if it was a tent that was actually a tent, or if it was a tent that they were trying to pass off as a cave. And I don't actually remember if there was like just narration, or if there was a character speaking, or if there was actually a voice coming from the cave. But my memory of the episode was that it was a cave, and there was a voice coming from the cave. And it all made sense in the episode, and I was fine watching the episode. I watched it at daycare, and then I came home, and I had nightmares about it for a couple nights in a row. And apparently, when I was explaining this to my mom, she thought that I was freaked out by the cave in Aladdin. And then we weren't allowed to watch Aladdin for a while. And when I wanted to watch Aladdin, and I finally clued in that this is what Mom thought that I was scared of, and I had to explain to her, like, no, the nightmare was from an episode of Barney. Yeah. To this day, she'll randomly recall that. She goes, "You used to have nightmares about the cave in Aladdin." And I'll go, no, I didn't. It was a cave in an episode of Barney. Before we get to the next question, if you are new here, please do subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday at minimum, at least twice a week, but I do have bonus videos some weeks. I'm an art channel primarily, as you can probably tell, but I do also do crafts tutorials and related product reviews occasionally. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment down below. In this case, I'd love to hear what your answers are to any of the Reddit questions that I am answering today. And I hope you like what I'm doing. I hope you will come back for the next one. See me again. I will be uploading again on Tuesday. I'm taking this long weekend off for sure. No bonus video this week. On with the next question. Alright, a user whose name I am not going to read because I'm afraid it might cause issues, asks, "What's the worst thing you've done to an NPC?" Well, if we're talking video games, let's look no further than The Sims. I think everybody who's ever played The Sims has, at some point, killed their Sims. On purpose. You let them go swimming, and then you switch over to editing mode, and you take all the ladders out. Because apparently they can't get out without a ladder. Or you let the house catch fire, and you take away all the doors. I remember one time I was playing the original Sims with my best friend at the time. We were over at her house, we were playing it on her computer, and we drowned one of our Sims in the pool. And I haven't done a whole lot of playing with any of the more recent Sims, so I don't know if this is still how it works, but in the original one, a tombstone shows up relatively near where the Sim character died. And when the other Sims that have a relation to that character pass by the tombstone, they have to stop and grieve at the tombstone every single time. Well, we drowned one of our Sims, so his tombstone popped up on the side of the pool, and then we put the ladder back, and the tombstone was in between the ladder and the diving board, and we had the kids in this Sim family playing on the diving board. We kept telling them to go to the diving board, so they would crawl out on the ladder, they would grieve at the tombstone, they would jump off the diving board, they would swim to the ladder, they'd crawl out, they'd grieve at the tombstone, they'd jump off the diving board, and we just kept this cycle going and going and going. And then, of course, in the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, you could pick up guests and move them around the park, and you drop them in the water, and they don't even try to swim, they just go, "Help, help," and then they drown. And you can have fun tanking your park's rating just by drowning them. Or you can do that, like, I don't remember what the actual name of the ride is in the game. It's very similar to a ride at the at Playland, the PNE in BC, called the Hellevator. Basically the ride that goes all the way up a straight up in the air track and then drops and goes back up and drops and goes back up, just playing with gravity. Another fun thing to do if you were not caring about your park's safety rating, you don't put enough track in and you hike the speed way up and you let everybody get on it and you let them go and they go up, 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 and they go off the track, and then when they come back down, even though the animation shows it fitting perfectly right back onto the track, it blows up. It's just lots of fun to make the roller coasters blow up. Now, if we're not talking video games, if we're talking roleplay games, either live action roleplay or tabletop, I have a story of playing an NPC. My longest relationship before my husband, the ex that I am referring to anytime I just say my ex without specifying. We're still friends. He's a great guy. We just didn't work out as a couple. Anyway, he is the storyteller, which is equivalent of Dungeon Master, but different game franchise. He needed me to come out and play non-player characters sometimes, and as his girlfriend at the time, I did. And the first time he got me to come out an NPC, he told me my character's name, and he gave me a character sheet, and he just sent me out there. Neglected to tell me that I was the wife of the rival clan's king. So we get into a fight situation in the first 10 minutes of gameplay, and I had a terrible roll. I got captured right out of the gates, and the rest of the night, these players are interrogating me, and I keep having to break character to get more information from my stupid boyfriend, who didn't give me any information about my character. So that's the worst thing he did to me as an NPC. But yeah, next question. Okay, so this is going to be the last question I answer in this video because it's getting kind of long. 7-Dimensional Parrot asks, what songs make you cry/get emotional? The first answer that comes to mind is Let It Be, because my sister and I sang this to our grandfather in his hospice room the day he died, hours before he passed. And we knew it was the end, and he was sedated to keep him comfortable, but we knew that he was probably still at least somewhat conscious, so we wanted to keep whatever we were talking about positive. And we were just sitting on either side of his bed and we were talking to each other, and we started to disagree on something, and I said, let's not argue right now, just let it be. And we're a very musical family, so I said that, so then we started singing that, and we sang that song to him on repeat for a while. And then we went home, and Mom had been staying most nights over with him in the hospice, and we hadn't even been home an hour after we left, after singing that to him, that we got the call. So every time that song comes on the radio, I want to sing along because I love that song, but I can't make it through that song. It makes me cry. Another one is In This House by the Stellars. And that song, it's about life after losing your partner and how just everything would remind you of that person. And obviously I haven't gone through that, but just because of the things that I have lived through in my life, that's one of my greatest fears, honestly, to lose the people closest to me. So that song has always, it taps into that fear and makes me emotional. So the last song that comes to mind that I absolutely love and I always want to sing along to it, but I can never make it through the song because it makes me so emotional and makes me want to cry, is 26 Cents by the Wilkinsons. It's a song about a girl grows up and she gets to 18, she wants to go out, see the world, she moves away, and her mom sends her off with a letter, and taped to the letter is a penny and a quarter, 26 cents. And every verse of the song is later and later and later in this woman's life, and every time she's come to a moment where she's down, she's sad, whatnot, she pulls out that letter and reads it. And the chorus of the song sums it up best, I'd say. I'm just going to read the lyrics, I'm not going to sing it, I don't want to risk any copyright strikes. I think you're allowed to read lyrics. When you get lonely, call me. Anytime at all, I'll be there with you, always. Anywhere at all. There's nothing I've got that I wouldn't give, and money is never enough. Here's a penny for your thoughts, a quarter for the call, and all of your mama's love. And I've struggled with mood disorders all of my life. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. Because of that, I go through episodes of depression, I deal with anxiety, and this song first started getting to me during a depression episode. I don't know why, it's one of the songs that I clung to in that time, and coming out of that, this song has always made me sad, and this song has stuck with me and made me emotional in a reflective way every time I listen to it, every time I try to sing it, because now I am living on the other side of the country from my mom, and I know I can always call her and get her love when I need it, and and now I'm a mom myself, and I imagine giving a note like this to little Dorothy when she's old enough to try to strike it out on her own, and I hope she doesn't do what I did and move to the other side of the country. But anyway, I think this video is long enough. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.